Hi everyone, I'm Dolly Oladini. I'm the community manager for Climate Salad. I'm here with Luke Berry from Clean and Recover. Luke, tell us about Clean and Recover. Please give us a quick intro.
Hi, Dolly. Thanks for having me. Clean and Recover, as its name suggests, is focused on working with acidic wastewater, and in particularly something called acid mine drainage, which is contaminated or mine affected water from mine sites. It can get contaminated in a range of different natural or human-induced ways, but it can often get very high in sulfates, in metals, including quite poisonous metals like cadmium and cobalt and so forth. We've developed a process for removing those metals from the water, potentially with the view to commercializing them, but cleaning up that water, ameliorating the pH so that the pH now is something acceptable if the water gets into waterways, and then we can protect the environment at them and generate a significant volume of clean water, which can be used either on the mine site or
Mm,
downstream for the environment. Um, the costs can be partly covered by the cost of the metal that we get out of the process. A benefit of the process is that we avoid doing things like using lime or other chemicals to treat the acid mine drainage to neutralize it. Lime in particular, the manufacture of lime generates a lot of carbon dioxide emissions, and so using our
mm,
process avoids generating all those sorts of emissions. So we're dealing with a problem of acid mine drainage, which has been said by the United Nations to be the second most pressing environmental problem currently facing the world. So it's a big
mm,
challenge with a large number of sites, and we're enjoying addressing that challenge.
mm. Thank you for sharing. So, incredibly important work that you are achieving at Clean and Recover. Um, and my background, I see an alignment with some of the work that I have delivered in the past. So, my
Mhm.
background has involved engaging with industry bodies as well as city government agencies to promote best practices that ensure clean air and public health are considered as fundamental human rights,
Mhm.
while aligning those efforts with climate mitigation goals. So, I do see a strong parallel in your work as you're trying to provide clean water, not just to benefit the mining companies, but
Mm.
also to provide clean water for the communities. So it would be great if you could share a bit more about how you engage directly with the mining industry to address acid mine drainage to clean up our waterways and ecosystems.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in a number of different countries, communities have grown up around mines. So places like South Africa, for example, there are a lot of communities based at or near mine sites, and they're
Mm,
often exposed to the water that comes off those sites. So it's very important to produce water that's acceptable, as it meets the conditions for waterways and streams, and can then be cleaned to be potentially drunk by people, and doesn't present hazards to either people or to wildlife trying, or invertebrates trying to use that water. And so there are a large number of sites where, we can remove the risk of that water. Also, mine sites sometimes store that water in tailings dams,
mhm,
and those dams are at risk of breaking or seeping over
mm,
time. All of these dams typically have some level of seepage. Um, and it's an intractable problem, acid mine drainage, because even mines that were mined during Roman times still are producing acid mine drainage. And so this problem will go on for thousands of years unless it's addressed.
a monumental challenge indeed. And it's very much
Yeah,
a social justice issue as well as a planetary and
it
biodiversity
certainly is.
problem.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right. Yeah, yeah. We've actually tracked some of the UN sort of sustainability development goals and matched those against our technology. And yeah, in terms of producing clean water, reducing pollution, we track very well against those goals.
Okay, fantastic. That's really great to hear. And are there any exciting products or new technologies that Clean and Recover is currently developing or about to launch that you would like to share with the climate silent community?
Well, I mean, I think the this is a platform technology, meaning that it can be developed outside the mining environment. So it could treat industrial wastewater, and it could also be used for part of the processing of minerals. Because we use an electrical process, we've got very precise control over the water and the pH of the water. And we can use the process of separating metals according to the pH at which they precipitate from water to separate them from each other. So we've already successfully, for example, separated cobalt from copper using this
Mm,
process and separated those out as separate metals. And we'd like to take things like sodium sulfate waste and turn it into sulfuric acid and caustic soda, which are both quite useful products that are widely used in the community through this process as well. And so over time, as we grow, we'll be using our platform technology for those wider purposes.
brilliant. I'm trying to envision what that looks like. I think you might have to present a demo for us and the wider community one day if you're happy with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've certainly got mock-ups and what does this sort of a plant look like? But yeah, it's a membrane technology where we
Hmm.
basically uh, pass the water through a cell with a membrane in it, and we use the membrane to remove certain constituents of the water and concentrate them on the other side of the membrane. And in that way, we can remove, say, sulfate and concentrate that as a sort of a sulfuric acid whilst the remaining water is desulfonated, and that allows it to precipitate and then be captured and commercialized. It's a little bit difficult to, always use words, but we've certainly got a lot of diagrams where we can show this sort of a
Great.
process.
Great. We always like pictures, Luke. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Luke, for sharing. I've learned so much, and I'm sure the wider community will also learn a lot too. We will include a link to your company in the video notes, and if there's anything else you'd like me to share, then do let me know. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks very much.